Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show today is the founder of Comfort Empowerment and Advocacy Foundation, Paul Akinyemi Thomas. He'll be speaking about raising awareness about sexual assault, domestic violence, and child marriage. He's an avid speaker, an avid blogger as well, and a strong advocate for women empowerment. Seriously, how did this happen? Why did you decide to do something like this? We see more women in advocacy. Very rarely do we see men. So how did this happen?
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Paul Akinyemi Thompson. I think before I was born, my mom wasn't from a very rich family, well-to-do family, and she saw this man of God, the Reverend, like, can you please raise my daughter for me? And this man accepted. And when my mom was 12 years old, he was molesting her.
Jeez.
And this little girl was complaining, telling people about our experience, but she was actually dismissed because she was a girl. Like, nobody's gonna believe a little girl over this man, And when the abuse continued for so many years, and when my mom was 16, I think 17, she had my big sister, and 3 years later they had me, and the family made us to believe that we are the reason for that. We're calling us slave, Omeru, and we were left to that literally, Because I remember while I was growing, there was a time my sister was already fuming from her mouth. The flies, she already perching on the body, and like we just left to be just,
Was it the pastor that was?
The wives actually, because the man actually had about 10 wives, before all of this happened, and before I traveled, one of these women made me to eat my own poop. She did all of this. But I'm here today, I'm grateful. And the reason why I started this is very simple. There was so many wrong that happens to my mom because of what happens to her. She didn't even get married to anybody, and even in my family up to today, they still call me slave, Omeru, and I had to grow up with so many self-esteem issues, and I felt like I wasn't good enough, and I was so lucky. I traveled to the United States. I won a visa lottery, by the way. So when I won the visa lottery, so I was there. I was making some bad choices. I didn't really know what was going on with my life. I walked around hungry every day. So I had an accident. I was drinking. I had an accident, and I was told to go to like a rehab, like a counseling. So the lady was speaking to me like, "Why do you always drink?" I was like, "I don't know why I drink." So she asked me, "Tell me about your childhood." So then I realized that, wow, I can't even talk about it. So she told me, she said, "You're actually traumatized. Like you did so, like you actually repressed all of this memory, So I was in America and I felt like, if that can happen to me, because what about people that doesn't have a voice? So I spoke to my mommy about it. Because we never actually get along for so long. We actually made up about 3-4 years ago.
Wow.
Because I felt like she abandoned me. But right now I didn't see it that way,
Anymore.
So we actually made up and we started this idea in 2014 originally, and right now we are registered in the United States too.
As well.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So I just felt like this is the right time to let people know the danger, because that is about sexual violence and child marriage. I saw so many domestic violence too growing up.
Physical
physical, and I couldn't even explain so many,
violence.
but I'm just excited that I'm here today.
Okay, I have a very close story, and the girl 11 was being defiled by her father since age 9. I requested they bring her to my house so that I could even understand that, is this really true? But I noticed that when we went to the court, because it was reported, the IPO in charge of the case withdrew a lot of information from my friend, who is the child's school friend who helped her.
Right.
And I'd also discovered that the mother of the child was actually pleading with the child to testify against the father that he wasn't doing it, despite the fact that they had gone to lawsuit, I guess, and they had carried out tests. What is the role of marriage? Because I'd also seen another video of a woman saying, oh, she cannot leave her husband if he desecrates their child, or if he sexually abuses their child. What is the role of union, man and woman, in the life of a child who comes forward to say, this has been happening?
First of all, you have to pay attention to your kids. When you have, like, for example, maybe there's a certain person that your kids usually spend time with, maybe they're usually happy, but for some reason they just start being
Peevish and touchy.
Right, with that person. Stop dismissing your child's emotion. pay attention, you have to listen. And the roles of parent in the life of a child is so important. You know, I'm not saying, because you want to raise a child that is going to be bold, be able to express themselves when something that is not right with them. Because if people believe my mom, like all of these years, you know, maybe this wouldn't have happened. You know, even up to today, people were still saying that she's wrong. And I was like, how can you blame a 12-year-old girl? This man is 50-year-old.
Jesus.
You know, he knows more than this little girl.
Blaming the victim.
You know, so that's the reason why the idea of comfort empowerment was started. You know, we need to be advocating about, because these are everyday issues. It's not just.
It's happening almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So she had you for the pastor.
Yes, me and my big sister.
So by that time, didn't they know she was speaking the truth?
No, but it happened since when she was small.
This man could do no wrong. You know,
Was a man of
Pastor.
God,
yeah, he could do no wrong. Like, who's gonna believe a little girl over? I mean, is a well-respected person, you know, and that's the main reason why we have to start blaming victim most of the time.
We have to stop blaming
because that happens, you know, a lot. And I think right now Nigeria is doing better when it comes to the issue of that. But I believe that by the time we keep speaking about it, there's so many things we can still improve.
Yeah.
You know.
So, very, very sorry for your traumatic experience.
Thank you.
Where we have grown to the point where we now see that we had to go through that because of the glory that was before us and because of the message we have to the world.
Right.
Now, sitting down here, I can't see someone who would powerfully advocate for women and then tell them his story and his mother's story and connect to a lot of women all over the world. So
Right.
well done.
Thank you so
choosing
much.
this path and, you know, spotlighting what has been happening. But I want to ask you, in your advocacy, and now that you say you are working on building a shelter, have you seen women who are in domestic violent relationships who somehow refuse to break out of it because of some of the benefits that they are getting, or the fact that they do not have the will to stand up because of what society will say? When you come across such women, what is that hope you give to them that they can actually come out of this and survive?
Well, that's a very good question. But the first thing is, when you see a woman that tells you that no matter what happened in that relationship, she's not going to leave that marriage, there are two things that is going on right there. First of all, that lady or the woman watches her own mom getting beat up every day. Domestic violence is actually, it's a learned behavior. It's not something that people were born with. For example, now when a boy, let's assume a boy, sees his dad beating his mom every time, you know, and that child grow up, that child is in danger himself. He's a victim, even though the child might be abusing his own girlfriend, because he's repeating what he saw growing up.
Yeah.
And that little girl that sees his mom getting beat up every day, for that little girl sticking around, she's trying to represent what happened in her childhood. So that is a normal thing to her. So we have to bring it into the consciousness of people. You know, like it shouldn't be like a family matter anymore. It shouldn't be. It has to be something that you can discuss, like the way you guys are discussing about, like a normal conversation. So it shouldn't be something that people are going to be afraid to talk about. And you have to understand that when someone abuses you, it is not your fault. It is a learned behavior by this other person, even though he himself might be a victim, you know, because that's what he saw doing that. So what we have to do, if you are a victim,
normalize the conversation.
Right. And most of the time, a lot of these victims, they actually stuck with the person that is beating them.
abusers.
So that was the reason why we came up with the idea of a shelter. Because when someone can have a place they can escape to, they can run to, that can even give them options, you know, hope, you know. So I don't know if I answered your question right.
Yes, you answered my
So
question.
you have this shelter. Sorry, you have this shelter now. It's
We are building it. We are like 90% complete. It's not really, you know, well done. But the reason why I started was because I don't want to say I accused my mom. I called her like, you told me all of this sad story about this man. Why didn't you just stay with him? And she told me our own family doesn't even want to take her. You know,
nowhere to go.
Right, and I could, like right now I can see from my own perspective, you know, because at the time I felt like she abandoned me. I mean, I was so mad, you know, because I was going around, walking around with so many anger. But when I started talking to people, they was like, your mom too is a victim, like what the hell with you? You have to just relax, you have to forgive her. And the people that did this thing, up to today, they've never accepted any responsibility for what they did.
Yeah.
You know, so
And
I want to take this as my life purpose. This really motivates me. Like I want to make this my life task. you know. And I believe with God, with the help of the media, we're going to keep, you know, talking about it, you know, advocate about it. And hopefully,
I like the advocacy part. If you need me, call me. I will tell them. Because
So we've been going around
see
too.
too many issues. But now I want to talk about admittance. How do you intend to admit these bruised victims? Because looking at what BC says, some people don't even want to live willingly, and their life is already on the cliff. Any
Right.
moment it will
can
just be
lose
open,
it.
and me will cut. Do you understand? So do you think that it is something that they have to willingly come to you, or when you now have such endearing cases, you move in, you swing into action, and you get out the victim?
well, in confident empowerment, we have something called anonymous reporting. You know, because most of the time people don't feel it's a very difficult situation to talk about things that are going on with you. So when you report something like anonymously, we have like 2 people, even though we're still trying to partner with other counselors, like that can talk to them, because it's not going to be, because this thing happened over time. It's not just because let me give you the reason why women stay. Let me give you just one reason why. In 1973, in Stockholm, Sweden, there was armed robbery. And this it was a serial killer. He held about 6 women hostage for 6 days. Then after that, he was convicted. But in court, the women were defending him. So that was where the idea of Stockholm syndrome came from. So what happened is that you are seeing a positive trait of your abuser.
Yeah.
It's like you're feeling sorry for that person.
Yes.
So in a way, you feel like you want to help them. You can help them. But it is a learned behavior. This guy doesn't even see anything wrong with it. The reason why someone can change is if they realize that what I'm doing is not right. They can have that humbleness in their own mind, and that's why they can, like, you know what, I think,
Help.
yeah. But if they don't see it that way, some even say, hey, that's what got on, mommy, what taking here. It's not like that anymore.
My mom went through it,
Right.
and she was okay, or this is what I saw
this is
going
every
on.
marriage
Yeah,
has
every marriage has its
their
own.
Ups
I
and
mean,
downs.
agree though. I want to. I mean, that's very. I mean, you should
Yes,
agree with
but
that.
not
But
beating,
come on.
not abuse, not sexual molestation.
Thank you.
So I know that you have a call number
Yes,
that
ma'am.
people that need help can reach out to. You see, in answering your question, I don't think any will have enough homes to accept everybody.
Right.
They choose to.
But if people are looking for a place to stay, to avoid being killed,
pushing
they should have an option. There are people right now that they are looking for a place. They are ready to leave. They don't just have anywhere to go. Those are the people that we can then say, oh, you can then get
refer
help
to the
from
shelter.
the shelter. So how can they reach out?
Well, like I said, I'm not trying to give you a false information. The shelter is not 100% done.
Okay.
We're 90% done, but that's the goal of the shelter.
shelter. But what you do now is counseling?
Yeah, counseling. Talk to people about it. We go to schools.
So if somebody is going through,
Yeah, they can reach out.
to
Yeah,
the number and
of
we'll
course.
go to
And we have
reach
enough fees in Akute. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So can I
give us
say
the numbers.
the address is at 52 Manchester Shopping Complex.
You can
You
read
can
the
read
paper.
out the number.
52 Manchester Shopping Complex, Akute. And the number is 09134736562. 09134736562. And in case they want to reach us in the United States too, because we just registered in the United States too,
US.
0091410842386. And we are all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on.
I think the advocacy is a big deal. YK, you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to ask how many, once the shelter is completed, how many people can...
The facility.
We can take 6 people, but each room can take 2, not just one
They
person.
can share.
Yeah, because it's a very large room, you know. But we're not going to reveal that location though,
Yes.
for safety reasons.
So.
Yeah, so.
Because I saw a video very recently, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, a woman who had left her husband's house.
Right.
It was on social media, and the guy actually called her to lure her that, he wanted to come and appeal.
But he has a different motive.
And he eventually beat her to a pulp.
Hey.
You understand? So in situations like that, who is the first responder? Are we going back to the government, or are we coming back to the family? Because we cannot take out the family unit from some of these things. And in quotes, in our Yoruba, in our side, they'll say, oh, that's why you were married legally. So they'll have to bring in your parents and his parents. But in this situation, to resolve the matter, but in this situation, who is the first responder?
Well, the first responder are professional help, for like counselors. Because if therapists, like for example, when a victim of a domestic violence is speaking to maybe like a counseling, from the way she's talking, they can tell what's going on behind the scene, even because that's what they are trained about. And some of the time, our police officer needs to do. I mean, they are trying because some of the police.
I was going to ask you that exact question.
Okay. Oh, can I?
Yes, please. Because you were able, you found help
Right.
for trauma that was repressed.
Right.
While being what would have been penalized for the crime that you seemingly committed.
Yeah, I had a DUI. Right. So I think our government, the Nigerian government is trying, but I believe we can improve and do better because some of these police too, some of them abuses their wife at home. Like, let's be real. Because I had a situation whereby a woman was telling this man, this police officer, that he was abused while she was pregnant, and the police told her to go back home to be a good wife.
Ew.
So most of the things we can do is like we can reorientate the police themselves. Because in America, too, it's a very, very delicate issue. Like, they are trained specially for that. So when people come to you and explain to you, even though you cannot even help them, you have this type of shelter, you know, their numbers. We only have 21 in all over Nigeria. And that's very, very too small. You know, so I believe with the help of advocacy and talking about it, we can have more partners too, and hopefully we can do better.
Yeah.
Maybe some people that are not even around. Sorry, maybe some people that are not even in the country and their houses are just locked up.
Right.
They might even donate their house
to you, so at least you can have more shelter for more people.
We have a lot of free houses here that people are not living in. We can also donate.
I've never seen
And
that.
I want to commend Lagos State government.
In Lagos.
They are doing. They have shelters and they are really improving. And I believe, you know, as time goes on, everything's going to be. You know,
So I would like to also, advise that in setting up the shelter here, we must first of all also pay attention to having maybe in collaboration with quite a number of therapists.
Oh, therapists, yeah.
Yes, because sometimes these women finally break away, but after a while, they are not used to the new normal you're trying to introduce them to.
That's
why find their way back.
That's why empowerment needs to come.
Yeah, now you understand that it's no longer a physical issue, it has gone mental.
Mental, right.
And it has to be dealt with from there so that you don't have people after rehabilitating them for a bit, the next 2 years they are back to the same home again, and then they come back. Because I worked with a non-governmental organization, Project Alert on Violence Against Women.
Right.
And I knew how, even with the shelters they had, these women would come, after a while, they are running back.
Yeah.
You know, so you have
what
to
they
keep
know.
what they know. You have to keep, you know, talking to them, getting them healing.
Right.
So it's like a conversation you're going to have with your partners, the coaches, the therapists, and all of that, to set out a program for them that will take them weeks to heal from that situation.
We're also looking for other counselors, like, you know, to you know, because it's not a one-man thing. It has to be, you know, a general effort by everybody.
In the space of advice, like she said, we have people studying psychology in the university, and there are many students that they are getting theoretical knowledge. We could partner with them to volunteer.
Oh, that's great.
She's a life coach, and she deals with all this trauma and all of that. She'll be able to help. You are still on TV, sir.
No, okay, sorry. My fault.
I would volunteer.
I would like to say that thank you for turning your pain into a gain for other people, and thank you for finding a way to turn that trauma into a blessing to others that are going to be benefiting from your initiative. Your story is very, very touching.
It is.
And I just pray that other people that have gone through, that are going through, or went through this, will find hope in the fact that you've been able to step out of that darkness into becoming light for others.
Yes,
what would be your final words as we're out of time?
Well, if you're going through domestic violence, you need to understand that it is not your fault, you know, and you have to seek help. You have to validate your own emotion, because many times we want to dismiss how you feel. Your emotions are valid, they are genuine. You know, you have to believe that, and you have to believe that you're not the only one. Like, it is not, don't blame yourself for it at all. This man learn it, and you have to seek help. You have to make sure you seek for shelter too, because safety first. You know, and I believe with the help of the government, we can even do better on that.
Like you said, Lagos is doing a whole lot. We expect other states to take up the same thing.
DSVR
as well.
team.
Yes, I know. DSVR team is doing a whole lot. We want to have DSVR in every other state, bringing support to people going through challenges. Stop victim shaming.
Yes.
We said that. Stop victim shaming.
Too.
Family members should provide support in the family. Normalize conversations around abuse. People shouldn't be victim shamed for talking about the abuse.
Right.
Seek help when you need it and validate yourself on that journey. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul Akinyemi Thompson, for contributing to the show today and for the good work you're doing. Our heart goes out to all the ones going through these challenges. That's what we can take on today's show. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.